Let's talk a little bit about Florida State. Coming off a great season, 12-2, finishing in the top 10, Orange Bowl champions, ACC champions. What does that do for the overall brand of the league to have Florida State be in the national spotlight once again?
It's really been gratifying to watch Florida State over the last 2 decades develop into such a strong total program across the board. Obviously, football at Florida State drives it with that great tradition and great history. But that's helped not only the ACC, I think it's helped the rest of the Florida State athletic program in terms of helping to build its Olympic sport program. And obviously there have been some recent success in basketball, both men and women, and an ACC basketball championship year before last. So an awfully lot of good things competitively are going on at Florida State, and that's a tremendous thing for FSU, tremendous thing for the ACC. This league was strengthened by Florida State coming in, and it has only become more of a national brand during the last 20 years than it was when it joined, and Florida State had a national brand at that point in time, and it was only enhanced coming into the ACC, and the growth of the Florida State program from an Olympic sport standpoint. It's been an extremely successful period of time for Florida State athletics, and so I think it's without question been a win-win. Florida State has brought numerous assets, if you will, to the Atlantic Coast Conference, and we're very proud that they're in the ACC.
One of the great things this season is you do have another Labor Day matchup. Florida State, obviously one of the perennial powers in the league, takes on newcomer Pitt that for so many years was a great football powerhouse in the early to mid 80s. You got guys like Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino that played for the Panthers. What does that do for the ACC, and especially a newcomer Pitt, to get a national spotlight game like this?
Well, it's a great start, I think. It's a great opening game for Pitt from an ACC standpoint. And you can just feel the excitement talking to the Pitt people and media people in that area, Pitt fans. And the same with Florida State fans. Indications are there are going to be a lot of Seminoles in Pittsburgh for that game. And I think what really even adds to it that much more is that it's Labor Day night, national television. It's the only college football game on that Monday night. So the entire nation will be watching Pitt and Florida State play in Pitt's first Atlantic Coast Conference football game. So it's a great way to start the season for both programs.
This year, Bobby Bowden does return for 2 games at Doak Campbell Stadium. From your mindset, you can go on and on about probably what he means to not only the program, but to the ACC, college football, the country in general. But what is it like to have him back for a couple games to kind of maybe really cement one of the best guys ever in college football?
Well, I think it's great that Dr. Barron, in a recent phone conversation the night before that was announced, actually told me that was coming, and I could hear in his voice how pleased he was about that. And Coach Bowden had been kind enough to come to Charlotte for a couple of our ACC football championship games and be a part of that. And he's one of, a lot of people would say this, but he's one of my favorite people that I've ever known in college athletics, because he's such a, he's humble, he's genuine, and he was tremendously successful and cared greatly about his players. And he's the type person that I look at coaches in view of whether I'd want my son or daughter to play for them. You'd want your son to play for Bobby Bowden. He's a tremendous asset to the game. He was always tremendously supportive of the Atlantic Coast Conference, and what he's done for Florida State and college football in general is immeasurable.